Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, and today I have a replay from Circon. I'm sure you all know who he is. And generally speaking, when Circon sends me a replay, and he does not do it very often, but I know that there's something very, very special contained within. And that's what really surprised me about this particular replay at first, because I watched it and I thought, I don't get it. I mean, the result was good. If I'd played this game and had this result, it would have been all over YouTube the next day. I would have been so incredibly proud of myself, but I'm not Circon. Circon gets these kind of results in just about every game that he plays. And I just didn't get it, and it took me a few days to realise what was so special about this match. By the way, just take a look at chat while we're here. Have a look at the Lorraine 40T there. Get Cancer Noob Team. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the wonderful World of Tanks EU community. Game's barely started and already we've got a player hoping his entire team dies of cancer. And yet that Lorraine 40T player is going to surprise us towards the end of this match. Oops, Circon's already been spotted. That's not good. Circon is in the French Tier 10 tank destroyer, the Foch 155. It has a 3-shot autoloader, but it's been nerfed since this thing was on the test server. Horrible aiming time, and for an autoloader it's got quite a long reload between shots. Hit by artillery, his tracks are blown. There's a second artillery in play, uses the repair kit to get moving again just in case. Second shot at the LTTB, misses completely, he's only got one shot left. Even at this point I still hadn't realised what it was about this replay that was special. LTTB just rams himself to death on the AMX CDC. Circon closing in for the ram there as well, not necessary. Now he's going for the reload. Now it's pretty much all down to the medium tanks up in front of him, as well as the Object 252U, Tier 8 Premium Heavy. Who's already figured out what it is that's so special about this game? I didn't figure it out until 5 days after he sent it in to me. The mediums are all going for it, and there's going to be absolute carnage over here as they all just charge into each other and blast each other to pieces. CDC going over the top. He's lost a lot of health, but they're pounding the enemy mediums. One CDC down. Now they're switching their fire. There goes... Oh, look at this. I can't even keep track. It's all just happening too quickly. Circon is still not reloaded. Both teams enjoying some great support from their artillery down here. Circon looking to see who's with him. Goes over the top. Angles. Turns it back. T-25 pilot judges it perfectly. Hits. Penetrates, but that's the only shot he's going to get off. IS-3 up there. Shot hits the wreck of the CDC, falling back. More cancer breaking out in chat, but Circon doesn't have time to worry about it. Bounces a shot from the M46, misses his return shot. M46 falls back. TVP appears on the corner, bounces a shot from the Lorraine. Second shot from the Lorraine, goes in and tracks him. TVP fires once, twice. Circon's got one shot left. Boom! Headshot. 1100 damage. Wait a minute, 1100 damage? I thought this 155mm gun was a 750 alpha damage gun. That's a very, very generous damage roll for armor piercing. Well, it would be if he was firing armor piercing, but that's kind of the whole point. Pulling back there, heavily angled, daring the M46 to take the shot, and he doesn't. But yes, have a look at the ammo counter. Circon hasn't loaded any armor piercing. He hasn't loaded any premium ammo. He's fighting this entire battle with high explosive, which means that instead of 750 alpha damage, he has 1100. But instead of having nearly 300mm of penetration, he only has 90. And with less than 300 health remaining, and we know that both enemy artillery are zeroed into this section of the map, he's being very, very careful to keep that bush between himself and that IS-3 as he poked the ridge looking for targets. I've seen Circon do this sort of thing before. He did it in the Jaegeru, the Jagdpanzer 100. Played an entire game with nothing but high explosive and still got high caliber and top gun. So it really shouldn't have been that surprising. Oh, I'm pretty sure the IS-3, yep, it has spotted him. Crap. There's the M46 looking for the kill. Bounces the M46's shot, hits him in return but doesn't penetrate because it's high explosive and only has 90mm of penetration. But the T26E5 finishes him off. Circon flexes motors. He's chasing after the IS-3 and dodging the fire from the enemy artillery. Remember, he only has 90mm of penetration. IS-3. Front of the hull, 110mm. He's not going to penetrate and do full damage. Side of the hull, 90mm, but spaced armour above the tracks, and then there's the tracks. The only place on the IS-3 where he's guaranteed to get a penetration is at the rear, where the armour is only 60mm. All the IS-3 had to do was anything apart from this, and he could have taken 2 hits on his armour, suffered about 600 damage, maybe lost some modules, and then with his 390 alpha damage gun, finished Circumflexes off, and this match would have had a very, very different ending. But he didn't. Another 1100 damage, immobilised by artillery, and there's the kill. I mean, seriously. Okay, to be completely fair, the IS-3 had no way of knowing that Circumflexes was firing high explosive, but still, you're in a tier 8 heavy and you just gave the back of your tank. You gave the back of your tank to a tier 10 tank destroyer. In what world is that ever going to work out for you? I do have to say though, it's very good to see how the team as a whole reacts to the shifting battlefield. With the pressure off on the southern flank, everybody's turning to attempt to support the battle that's going on in the town. They're not going to win it, but they're at least supporting the one surviving tank in the town. Artillery are shifting their fire to give them some cover, and everybody else is setting up to defend. Unfortunately for the T-26E5 to the rear, the southern flank is not quite finished. Enemy Guerrilla 15's just popped up, and that T-26E5 is being focused by the enemy artillery, who are still working over the southern flank. He's been hit once, and he got taken out by the Object 261. Again though, it's good teamwork. That Guerrilla 15 did have 1106 health. Now Circon can do 1106 damage with his high explosive shells, but that would require a high damage roll. He could just as easily have gotten a low damage roll, and it would have needed another shot, and the Guerrilla 15 only had to hit him once. Artillery again on the ball. Managed to reduce the Guerrilla 15 to enough health that Circon could guarantee a one-shot kill with his high explosive. Ducking behind the bridge support there, dodging the inevitable return fire from the enemy artillery, but now there's nothing here to spot him, so he's clear to get back and support the rest of the team in engaging the enemy tanks who've won the battle in the town and now have a free ride into their cap circle. While he's reloading, an artillery, proving that they actually know how to look at a map every now and then, or falling back in order to be able to fire from a safe position in support of the cap circle, he asks the Lorraine 40T to spot for him. Remember, this is the guy who right at the beginning of the game was wishing his whole team would die of cancer. And the last thing I was expecting from that guy right now is a sensible reply, but he's there in chat. Affirmative. I've got your back. Well, he has spotted one enemy, but from that position you can guarantee he will have been spotted as well, so he's being forced to fall back, and Circon's aiming up at the corner of the slag pile over there. That's where he's expecting him to pop up from. Circon's urging him to get up and use that bush. I'm not entirely sure the Lorraine knows which bush he's talking about, but oops, second target, E75, heavily angled. Never going to penetrate, even if he hits the side of the turret. But he doesn't get spotted. The range is over 400 meters. So, okay, we'll just keep firing. And everybody is shooting at this poor E75. He's aiming right back at Circumflexes. But he has not actually seen him. He's just pointing the gun down the line of bearing from the shot indicator. Circumflexes, 3 shots, didn't get spotted. The enemy team don't appear to be interested in capping. So Circon urges the Lorraine to go and get the enemy artillery, and he's straight on the ball. No arguments. Yep, got it, going for the artillery. Friendly artillery, meanwhile, alerting the team that they're going to finish the E75 off, and they do finish the E75 off, and there's still no sign of the enemy team capping. The enemy team have an IS-3 and a T-25 pilot up there. Now bear in mind, those two guys have just seen an E-75, a very strong tank, get completely obliterated in the middle of that field where the cap circle is. Circon's taking the gamble here that they're not going to be too keen to repeat the E-75's experience, and instead they're likely to be heading south in an attempt to find and kill his team's artillery. And you can see that his team's artillery are taking the hint as well, and they're relocating as quickly as they possibly can. Now this is fairly basic stuff, but it's worth pointing out because you'd be surprised how many people don't get it. Have a look at the map and you'll notice that the Lorraine is taking very great care to not stray into the enemy cap circle. So his presence is going to come as a very unwelcome surprise to that Batchat 155 over there, who had no idea that he's about to receive a very rough dose of surprise butt sex from the Lorraine 40T. No sign of the Object 261. And at this point, one tank on the enemy team, having failed to locate the friendly artillery, who, it has to be said, have done a fantastic job of supporting the team throughout this match. But one enemy tank is now capping. Ideally, at this point, we could really use the Lorraine 40T to spot the cap circle. Unfortunately, he was doing a necessary job finishing off the artillery. What that means is Circumflexes is going to have to spot that cap circle himself, and he only has 255 health remaining. But friendly artillery are on the ball, they're all reporting that they're ready to fire, and because Circon took the time to come all the way around the other end of the map, he's ready to make the most of that 90mm of penetration by hitting the sides and rear of the enemy tanks in the cap circle. Boom! There goes the Object 261. Boom! There goes the IS-3. Where's the T-25 pilot? There he is. Artie, hit him. Finish him. Bingo. Game over. Superb teamwork from the 4 surviving team members. And Circumflexes, once again, showing why we hate him. Taking a tier 10 tank destroyer, again, into a random battle, loading nothing but high explosive, and making it look easy. The question is though, why would you do something as dumb as take a Foch 155 or a Jagdpanzer E100 into a random battle, loaded with nothing but high explosive in the first place? Well, if it's stupid but it works. See, that's the thing. If you watch very, very good players, Orzenel, for example, is another YouTuber and live streamer, he basically just plays World of Tanks now, just to ace the tanks, just to earn 3 marks on the gun barrel of every tank in the game. That's all he does. He just takes tanks out, aces them, plays another tank, aces it, plays another tank. Circumflexes has a slightly different approach to keep himself interested in World of Tanks. He does dumb shit like this and looks good doing it. And that's why we all hate him. But it does make for entertaining replays. So, Circumflexes, I'm sorry I doubted you. I didn't get it at first. I mean, I looked at this replay and I thought, well, alright, 7,000 damage. But you are on a Foch 155. Alright, it's not a particularly good tier 10 tank destroyer, but it's you in a Foch 155. I expect you to do 7,000 damage. I expect you to get a high caliber. I expect you to get a top gun. I don't expect you to do it firing high explosive, however, and that's why he continues to surprise me. If you like what you've seen and you want to see more of the same, Circumflexes, of course, very popular World of Tanks live streamer. Details down below to his YouTube and Twitch channel in the video description. Thank you once again for sending that one in. I'm sorry it took so long for me to realise what was so special about it. I hope everybody else enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.